we are back again. Gonna work on Glowing Telegram, this Rust-based, whatchamacallit. This is why I write a README, right? So that I don't have to remember what it is. It's a tool for managing stream recordings, ingesting them into a database, providing a web interface for searching, analyzing, and passing them to a video processing pipeline, like a DaVinci Resolve video editor, and then uploading it to YouTube or whatever. So all of these different features. This is a open source project on GitHub as well. Something that Marksy was asking about. I forget what was that yesterday or recently on a stream. We were talking about making this available to others, and I guess technically this is all available since it is open source. You just have to run it yourself and set things up and all that with the AGPL license. So it's an open source license. That means that if you were to try to commercialize this, you'd have to contribute back any changes, any improvements back, and share them out. You couldn't keep them to yourself, just to prevent anyone from taking the work and adding some cool things to it and not giving back to the community. All right, so last time around, sadly, it has been a whole week since I worked on this. Last time around, we were working on the task worker to process background tasks like detecting silences or transcribing speech into text, right? We want to have that stuff happen in the background, and so we have a task API that gets called and is responsible for queuing the tasks up into Redis, and then we have a task worker that potentially we could have multiple of them running that would process those tasks in the background and then report back the status. So where were we on that? So we have the task worker here, right? So we have a main.rs in our project in task worker. We're using Tokio for asynchronous non-blocking input and output. Seems to be the thing to do. I don't really know. My limited amount of research seemed like this was a good way forward. And then we are connecting to Redis here. We are basically forcing the program to crash if anything goes wrong, because unlike the other microservices, this one is not doesn't have a web API, right? So this is just running in the background. So potentially we could have just like monitoring around it if something were to go wrong, and we could restart and all those things. So we're just going to have the process crash out if anything goes wrong. We get the queue name from the environment. That's the queue that we're looking for tasks from. And we get a temporary queue name. We just slap :temp on the end of the queue name to make up a temporary queue. That does mean that all of the task workers, if we have multiple of them, are using the same temporary queue. But that's fine, because when we're interacting with the temporary queue, we're still going off of the task key. Like we know what task we're working on. The temporary queue is more of a, oops, didn't mean to click that. One of these keys is Alt. There we go. Alright. Still getting used to the new keyboard. It's going to be probably months to get used to this ZSA Moonlander. But it's going to be worth it in the long term. It's going to be fun. I go back to work here in far too short, like just over a week, right? Like a lot of people. going back to work in January, and I plan on using this keyboard for work too. So it's a good thing I code less at work these days. But no, now I have to write emails on this thing. Anyway, so doing stuff with this. Basically, we've sorted out the whole thing of getting the task from Redis and also reporting when the task is complete in Redis. And we even made a thing to make a request to our microservice. Now, we are trusting that the data in task data is safe. And so we're just taking the literal URL and using that. If we didn't absolutely trust the value in Redis, then this would not be a good thing to do. But I'm saying that we trust it. So this is where we are making a request to our other microservice to do a chunk of work, right? And then what we're going to do is we need to put a loop around this. Here's the to-do. Iterate using the return cursor. So let's see, store the data from the data key into the task data as a JSON string. So let's look at getting the response. So response here is a value. So it's some kind of JSON thing. See the asserted JSON value module documentation for usage examples. Let's take a look at that. Okay. So we can, in fact, just pull some things out of there. So we can, for instance, oh, hey, Foxy Blue. How's it going? How's your Christmas Eve day going? It's weird that the whole day is called Christmas Eve on my calendar. I was gonna be here and support you, but Mark Steve reminded me that I hate you for that clip. Which one? Is there one specifically that you hate me for? Oh, that one. I mean, Marksy said it. I just had to clip it because, you know, he doesn't have VODs recording. So I had to clip it in, you know, live. Y'all are distracting me, but it's no problem at all. That's what I'm here for, is to be distracted. There's a Grand Bull in chat as well, speaking of distractions. So what I want to do is I want to pull out the cursor from the response. Ooh, Marksy really wants that one. Yeah, so here's GitHub Copilot. Yeah, GitHub Copilot. It maybe helps that if I enunciate, suggesting something for us, and I think this is closer. So the as str, if the value is a string, return the associated str, right? So I think the str is like the lower level string representation. In Texas we say Yaldiv. You don't enunciate much? Yeah. I have a friend who gives me a hard time about it. And then I occasionally, well, honestly, pretty much all the time, listen back to the recordings of these because I'm going through and editing them. Well, I'm trimming off the front and the ends and adding, you know, this and that. But I hear when I'm not enunciating. It's kind of funny. Okay, so then we have a cursor. And then we also want to get this data. We can't all be fancy like those across the Atlantic. Yes. So I think we said that we were going to have something in the task. Yes. I think I said it. I don't know if I actually wrote it down anywhere, so let me see. So let me pull up the Redis client. Maybe I still have the record set up from before. We're going to look at. Hello to other lurkers out there watching the stream. I see that you exist. No keys found. Create your first key. Okay, so I think I've not set up persistence for this Redis instance. Specifically, I have this Redis server that this is connected to running inside of a Docker container. And I think I did not set this up to mount a data volume to persist the data in the Redis thingamajig. Lurkers unite. Yes, indeed. All right. So, do I want to fix that now? Probably it would be best to fix it before I forget and then wonder where my Redis keys went. So in the Docker compose file, also Foxy and Marksy, if you, either of you, I mean, I know I'm pretty far into, oh, there you go, he's lurking, pretty far into the weeds on this project, but happy to field questions. It's probably good. Everyone always has questions. Not everyone asks. Yeah. Oh, I definitely gave teacher vibes right there. So sorry about that. But okay. Anyway, so Redis. Yes, you can get clone this. It is, in fact, an open source project. It is nothing, honestly, you would really want to use right now. But someday it will be. It is an AGPL licensed open source project. I pushed last week. Are you looking at the right repo? I push every week at least, because at least while these streams are working on this project, I'm pushing up the work. Yep. In fact, I even tag every stream so you can see exactly, like, here's the work that was done on this stream, which is very helpful for me when I'm trying to remember what was done since the last stream. In this case, nothing. And specifically, it's AGPL 3.0, so that someone can't come along and make a commercial product and not give back. Yeah, give back changes back into the shared project. All right, so how do we make it so that Redis's data is not lost? We're going to create a, I forget the nomenclature, but essentially a volume that we're not going to specify needs to exist somewhere on disk. Docker is going to manage that. Yeah, Redis data looks good. Copilot for the win. And then, so this is what it thinks it should do. So it's going to map that Redis data volume to /data on disk. Now, I don't know if that's actually right. Let's go look at the, does that take us to the image? It does. Awesome. Now, is this image, this Docker image, set up to look for the data? Oh, there it is. Yeah, volume/data with persistent storage. Start as a Redis instance, some Redis D, Redis server. So that's like detached mode. Redis is the image. Redis server -- save 61 log level warning. There's several different persistent strategies to choose from. This one will save a snapshot of DB every 60 seconds if at least one write operation was performed. If persistence is enabled, data is stored in volume data. Okay, so we could probably do this if we let's see, what is it, like command? Okay, so append only, yes, is interesting. What does that do? Let's go back here to the docs. Gonna figure out Redis. Okay, Redis database, point in time snapshots, append only file, logs every write operation, can be replayed again at server startup. I feel like in the past when I've used Redis, this is what I used. If you'd rather not think about the trade-offs, you may want to pay us money. Got it. Where's your Where's my lurker bot, Marksy? Foxy Blue asks. What does a lurker bot do? Oh, just like lurks in chat? Like Marksy does on like half of the channels on Twitch? Yeah. Speaking of commands, Marksy should have someone make a command in his channel that explains the existence of said bot, so that every time someone comes into his channel and asks about it, he can just run the command. I actually saw something on Twitter the other day. The only result for searching for Marksy's weird name on Twitter is someone complaining about bots in their chat. Yeah. Yeah. Well, they're just upset at the world. Or their expectations, right? Yeah. Yeah. So, snapshotting is not very durable. If Redis just stops, like I, stop Docker suddenly. Latest data, I can speak. Latest data brings Redis will be lost. Append only files. You can turn on AOF in your configuration. We don't have a configuration file. It's all command line. So I think this does that. So I think maybe if we save this, and we'll do let's see, Control-Shift-P to bring up this, and we'll do compose. Let's see, if we do up, will that bring up the Redis container? Maybe. Let's see, let's get Docker up. Here we go. So let's give us a little bit more room so we can see what's going on. So Redis was started 28 minutes ago, so we should maybe see this restart. Otherwise, we can restart it. And what we can do is we can test this by connecting and writing a key, and then we'll restart Redis and verify that the key still exists after it's restarted. And that way we'll know it's properly persisting. It might take a minute. I probably should not have run Docker Compose that way, because it did do like the dash build options. Now it's rebuilding on the images. Might take a minute. Well, while that's doing that, let's be multi-threaded mentally. So we got the cursor out, and so something that we're supposed to be, I'm pretty sure. Oh, right, this is what I was going to do. I was going to go look in Redis, right, to see what the payload for the task is supposed to look like. But then we discovered that it was empty because I hadn't set up persistence. So I'm pretty sure, though, that what we're supposed to be doing is that we get the task data, and we're getting the payload out of the task data, and then we also want to get let's data key. Yeah, exactly. It's like it reads my mind. Right, so there's supposed, well, it's because it's keying off of this comment down here, right? And the fact that I'm doing the same sort of extraction, it's a common thing to do, right? So we're getting test data, we're taking test data, and we're getting the data key from it. Maybe this even works. Yeah, so that gets a string reference. So here's a question. Okay. Yeah, I think we do this specifically because if cursor isn't present in response, then we are we're gonna panic and bail out, and that's fine in this context, again, because we just want to fail fast if anything is not exactly how we expect. All right. So where was I? So the data key. The data key is basically telling us where we should be looking in the response from the API call to get the actual data that we're interested in. Why is this giving us a warning? Oh yeah, we're not using cursor yet. Okay, that's fine. Oh yeah, the line numbers changed. So this warning is actually about this line, but that's fine. We'll see the right thing when we save. So we want to let's make this not to do anymore. We're going to we're gonna get the data from the response, right? So we're gonna say let data. I was kind of hoping Copilot would just do it for me. a Minchino, whatever that is, has appeared in chat. If anyone wants it. There we go. Right, so we're gonna get the response. Haha, not looking for the literal. Let's see where. Hold on. First of all, I need my key map. So, if folks are curious why I'm so slow at typing, this is what my keyboard looks like now. And so, like, I don't even remember. Okay, so A and R in that layer are square brackets. Awesome. All right, and then data key. There we go. So this should be as object. There we go. Ooh, I caught it. Awesome. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Yeah, so I decided this, I found this Colmac layout for the keyboard. So when I was setting up this split keyboard, which I've never used a split keyboard before, I was like, this looks like a good keyboard layout that will be much more efficient. And sure, I'll suffer for a bit, but in the long term, it will be good. So, yeah. But yeah, so there we go. We got that, we got that. We got the numpad inside of there. We got media. Yeah, it's a whole thing. Put that over to the side when I need to reference it. Okay. And I hope everyone is doing well. Well, it's the day of Christmas Eve for me. Maybe different for you depending on where you are in the world, but I hope you're doing good wherever you are, whatever you're doing. I'm enjoying some coffee. And trying to remember what I was doing next. So we got the data, right? So we have something. We're assuming that it's some kind of object, right? And then what we want to do is, actually, is that the case? This might actually be an array, right? Because, or we might not know. What other methods are there here? Is there something like, maybe I don't even need to do this part, right? We'll just say it's this, it's a value, right? If we could take that and then write that to our append it. Yes, this is what I said last time that we wanted to do here. Store the data from the data key, so that's this thing, into the task data, which we have a copy of in task data here that we got from Redis. We want to store this little bit of data in an array. I said as a JSON string of an array in the data field, right? So we're going to put something in the data field inside of the task. So this attempts to serialize that data value back into JSON. We could do that. Maybe a better way of doing this would actually be to create a separate key for the data for the task, right? So we have this task key right here, which we got from the queue, right? And that tells us where the task data that we're processing is. And that task data is a hash, which is why this is an H here. It's so it's a set of keys and values, right? But instead of trying to modify that key and add another, modify the hash at that key location to like mutate it to add something, instead we could just have like a sub key. That is to say, take the task key and add something on the end to be like, okay, here's the data for it. Right? So we could do something like so not in the data field. Let's come back to this. Let's do this. So we're gonna say, hey, Martinator, welcome. Marksy was here earlier. Maybe he's still lurking. So we got the crew. All right. So I think we still want to serialize this data thing that we got from the API, but instead of trying to modify the task, oh wow.
The Martinator019 gifted 5 subscriptions to the community.
Amazing. That is very generous of you. Thank you for the 5 gift subs. And now I see some people that are pretty regular visitors to the channel now have gifted subs, so they don't have to be bugged by ads, assuming they have Turbo or however that works. That is wild. Now I'm just one sub away from the goal, the arbitrary goal that Twitch set for me. Which emote is that? Ghost surprise? That was a surprise. It's wild. Thank you. Thank you for that. I need to think about. You really didn't have to do that. That's amazing.
The Martinator019 gifted 1 subscriptions to the community.
You gifted a sub to Wally. Who was here the other day. There we go. We did it.
We reached our new subs goal of 10. Thank you, everyone.
We got the. I love that voice. Yeah, time for a new goal. Yeah, definitely. Let's pull this up. Only 40 minutes in. We got some time too. Also, did I get another follower at some point? Yeah, I'm sitting at 101 followers. Stuff just keeps happening. I think that was before the stream though. All right, so we're gonna set a new goal. Let's see. So manage goal. Oh, that's manage stream. I've been wanting to learn how to add it. Add what? Subscription goal. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna do new subs. Oh, the voice thing? Yeah, so I'm just using the Twitch alerts, the baked in stuff, and there's an option for the voice in it. There we go. Why not another 10?
New subs goal started.
Seems like a good goal. Alright, so. And 11 viewers. Hello. All the viewers out there. Don't let me scare you off. We're going to take the data string and we're going to put it into a list. But to do that, we need to know what the key is going to be that we're going to put it into. Foxy.
Foxy Blue just cheered 4 bits.
A whole 4 bits. Thank you for the bits. So just to confirm, does it do the little like confetti or fireworks or stuff around on the screen when you do that? I don't see that from my view, but when Death Row Gamer cheered the other day, yeah, you see it? Cool, cool. All right, double confirmation now. Awesome. All right, and we have the thing on the screen as well. I think I fixed it now, so it actually shows recent events. Awesome. All right, so let's see here. Let's. What do I want to do? I want to make a. Oh, Martinator Sarking. I should change that text. It's okay, but it could be better. Better emote there. Anyway, so we're gonna have like a task, something. Where is my underscore key? Ah, there it is. Task data key. something like this, right? So we're saying we're going to take the existing task key, which is where the hash map is that has the task data, and we're going to say here's like a sub key, which is what I'm calling it, which is where we're going to be storing the list of results from making these API calls repeatedly, right? And now this is wrong. It's we don't want to use hset because that would be like setting a hash. That would be like, oh, there's going to be a hash at this location and we're going to set field to that value. We don't want to do that. Instead, what we want to do is we want to do something like, is there like an L something? L for list. Like an L push. And then we'll take this. And then this. Use the word save here instead of set because that's a little clearer in this context. Now L push, insert all the specified values at the head of the list stored at key. We probably want to put it on the end, not at the beginning, so that the list is in the order that it's in the same order that the API that we're calling gave it to us, right? Preserving that order. I mean, the client, you know, when we're reading this out, we could like reverse it or whatever, but why? So, time for Redis docs. All right, we're done with this page. Let's see. Oh, I think L in L push stands for left, right? I think we found that last time, right? Like we have R pop, L push. So probably what we want is like R push. Time complexity. Something worth noting here is like, how bad is it to do the operation? Insert all specified values at the tail of the list stored at key. So we want R push. LR push? No, R push. All right, so this should do a thing. Let's see if we, oh, we have some issues. Let's see, what is this not happy about? Cannot move out of index of asserted JSON value. Move occurs because the value has type thing, which doesn't implement copy. A wild Diggersby in chat. Let's see here. Consider borrowing here. Is it complaining about the data key? Let's imagine I knew which key. There we go. No. Maybe it's complaining about this whole thing? Okay. It stopped complaining. That's good, right? All right, so this should kind of sort of work, right? So if we let's run this command again on our Docker Compose, so that'll rebuild everything and get everything running. In the meantime, let's go look at what's going on in Redis land. So did we restart? We did restart Redis. So now if we were to say run this command, right, and then no, that's not helpful. What we need to do is we need to add a key. There we go. It's going to be a hash. We're going to call it task:1, right? And so this is going to have like a URL. No one caught it. All right. And let me get Postman over here. So this is the API that we're calling. Although in the context of the service, How's this gonna work? Oh yeah. So HTTP : / yeah. I make that typo a lot these days. H, N, and M are right next to each other on this keyboard in this layout. Okay, so and we're calling this, it's like silence detection API. Somewhere. There we go. Yeah, silence detection API. So pretty sure that's the name of the host name. And it's DETECTION_API : 3000, and then the bit that I copied, except this part, which we don't need to call. I guess technically I could have this call the Nginx front end to proxy it rather than directly calling the service, but I think this is fine in this context. And then we can add, what other fields do we need to add? I think we need to add a data key. I know we need to add a data key to tell it, that's not where underscore is, where the the response from the API that contains the actual data that we're interested in, where that can be found. Let's go back to Postman. I don't have an example here of what the response looks like, so let's send this again. And we'll see that response, and I'll keep on working on these other values that we need to have. You know, honestly, what I was going to do is I was going to test this first so that we can make sure that, do something very simple, right, in terms of creating a key, so we could restart Redis to verify that when Redis restarts, we're not going to lose all the values. But I'm sure it's fine, right? It'll just work, right? And I won't have to type this all again. I guess we're going to find out. And then data key just needs to be whatever the key is in the response that has the data, which is segments. So segments. Is there anything else that we need in there? So if we look at the task data, you can look where we're reading stuff out. We're reading payload out. And we are getting data key out and URL. And that seems to be it. All right, so if I add this key, all right, it's been added. We have keys. That's great. And we have task queue temp in there. Yeah, let's go ahead and can we remove? There we go. Let's just get rid of that. And then what? And then we're gonna restart Redis. Let's see here. So our task worker did update, did restart. So the work that we just did compiled, built into an image, and is running. But what I want to do now is I want to stop Redis and start it again and verify that the data is still there, that we've properly set up this persistence. Let's also go look at the container. So what time is it? 17 after. So you can see here it's telling us it created append-only file, base file, anchor file. So that's probably good. And then we just killed it. And yeah, called fsync on the AOF file. That's all good stuff. And then It looks like it loaded the file, so hopefully if we go over here and refresh now, sorry, I'm distracted by things on other screen. Okay, yeah, so it's still there, which is great. Yay, no data loss. Okay. So this is good because now we're going to test that this actually can process. It can, we're going to queue this task as if we were the task API. The task worker will see that queued task and use the information in this record to make the API call, take the response, and then store the response in a separate key called task:1:data. So that'll be a list, and inside the list will be a single JSON response segment thingy, right? So we have a handy way of doing this because we've previously done this exact same thing where we push the key of the task onto the task queue. So just run that again. And it should be done by now, right? So if we refresh, maybe failed. So I see the thing on the temp queue. So I'm guessing it failed, which is great. We're going to learn what we did wrong. So task worker says, I think we lost our connection to Redis at some point, and then we started, we got task key, we got task data. Okay, so this is what we've read out of Redis for that task:1 thing, and then something happened. Let's see, what time is it? 20? Okay. It looks like maybe we crashed. I'm not really sure. That's interesting. Oh, maybe our restart stuff was still happening. Let's hope. Let's try it one more time. So I can delete the temp queue. It doesn't really matter either way. Of course, our task is still here because we're not modifying that at all as part of the queuing. So we'll just queue up the thing again. And okay. Oh, right. So what's happening right now? What's happening right now is that the task worker is making an HTTP request to the silence detection API. Right. So if we go over to the silence detection API over here, 21. I'm not sure if this was. All right, 20. I mean, this was 21:20, 21:10, 4, 3, 2, 20. Is this the previous request or the current request? Who could say? Okay, let's go back to task worker. I started 47 seconds ago. It's interesting that now it says starting task worker. Did it crash? Did it crash silently? Oh, I see. Are these log lines out of order? It's all the 24th, but this is like 9/21/20. And this is 9/21/21. But this is 9/7. How did that happen? Anyway. Okay, so We panicked. Unexpected and failed to get task from queue. No, that was before. What about now? Okay, 920. 921. So here's a recent panic. I'm not sure why the things are out of order. Failed to get cursor from response. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Why did we fail? So we didn't get a cursor in the response, according to this, according to the message that we wrote to ourselves. So that's coming from here. We're trying to read cursor from the response that we got. Now that's interesting because when we looked at in Postman, there is a cursor in the response. Although we are saying that the cursor should be a string, and that's not really true. All right. In fact, that should be... Well, what I'm doing here is I have an object, right? I have an object that has an index. Wait, how's that going to work? How is that supposed to work? Oh, right. Because we're gonna take this and we're gonna include this bit in the request payload in the next request. Okay. I think that we don't need to worry about this part. We're just gonna have the value. I mean, it doesn't matter now. We're not even using it. I also want to move this downwards to below where we're logging the response so I can just see what's going on in there. Yeah. Okay. That makes it happy. All right, and so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little break while I wait for everything to rebuild. And when we come back, we're going to continue working on the task worker and all of this backend stuff to make backend asynchronous processing work.